hear you're ready for your dose of reality. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. The torture that I have to deal with this. No, I'm saving you. 1992 to the middle of 1996 was some of the worst wrestling ever aired on television. And we're at the zenith of this time. And that's proof positive because we are reviewing one of the worst, most god-awful, talentless pay-per-views of all time, King of the Ring 95.
He loved this pay-per-view. You can tell it. You know, it was such a great pay-per-view. You know, this took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At the beginning, they had a big air blimp. You know, it was flying around out there. Everybody was excited for this at the Core State Spectrum.
Yeah, and the sponsor on the little blimp inside was Stridex Air Maxi Pads for kids trying to clean their faces because, you know, in 1995, everybody was grunge. They didn't know how to wash their face. So good job, WWE, telling kids to take a bath.
Exactly. And moving along, speaking of great WWE people, we have on commentary Vince McMahon and Doc Hendricks.
Vince McMahon, we make a lot of fun of him here. As a commentary play-by-play guy, well, he's goofy. He's not horrible. His what a maneuver is actually a good call in wrestling because it gets people up and excited. The first match, Doc Hendricks was not horrible. By the way, for those 2 or 3 people who didn't know who Doc Hendricks is, that's Michael P.S. Hayes. After the first match, he became the love child of Tony Schiavone, Brother Love, and Mark Madden. He would not shut up. He said stupid things that didn't need to be said, and he didn't take the cue that Vince McMahon kept telling him to be quiet. So I'm going to tell you now, Doc Hendricks, shut up.
Well, I don't know what you mean, man. You know, I mean, he just always had that.
I still haven't figured out who's going to get sprayed. You might earn that honor.
Oh, boy. Oh, there's a lot of people going to be involved. Speaking of which, let's talk about the people doing the interviews. We had Todd Pettengill and Stephanie Winan, something.
Weon.
Yeah, Weon.
You forgot Stan Lane, even though he really didn't do anything.
I was getting ready to mention Stan Lane, but you were on it.
Pettingillis, we've made enough fun of. There's nothing else we can say because the more we talk about the Pettingillis, the more people have to think about and remember that idiot.
Hey, he got brought back this year. Did you see that? Yeah.
I want to go into Vicky McMahon's stunt, or Vicky Guerrero's stunt double, Stephanie Weons. She was there for about a year, and then she left due to contract disputes. She wasn't very good. She wasn't very entertaining. She wasn't very good at getting the story moving along. I think they tried to say, look, we're going to pay you a penny because that's all you're worth. And she said, nope, I'm out of here. So good job for making the right call and leaving.
So the best one out of his 3 was rarely seen on television, and that was Stan Lane.
Stan Lane was there for 5 seconds because then it cut to Owen Hart on the phone telling everybody he's the King of Hearts. So yeah, Stan Lane did the best job.
Stan Lane did the best job here. Referees, we had the great Danny Davis, Mike Chioda, and Earl Hebner.
All decent referees, all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If the WWE were to ever open the referee ceremonial wing that we've talked about, it should be in honor of the great Joey Marella. But all these guys did a good job. Nobody noticed who they were. So it's nerds like us that actually know who they are.
That's right. And they were great at what they did. Let's move on here to the opening match because even on Peacock, they even decided to have Coliseum home video, have a video out here for us. We got to see a match before the show. We got to see Savio Vega with Razor Ramon taking on IRS with Ted DiBiase. Qualifier, the winner got to move into the King of the Ring tournament.
That's right. Hillbilly Jim had just taken over running the video department of WWF at this time. And every DVD, video, VHS thing that were put out, Hillbilly Jim decided to add a special extra match from Coliseum Home Video, which was the parent recording company the WWF used. And since those exist, and Hillbilly Jim is a Hall of Famer and still part of the E, that's why we get the last match, the qualifying match, which was the main event for Sunday Night Heat, Sunday Night Mayhem. It had several different names.
Shotgun Saturday night.
That was Saturday night. This was Sunday. So this was the main event right before they went to the pay-per-view. And it shouldn't have been.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it was a solid match. I mean, it was an okay opener. This was before the show, so most people that watched this live, unless they watched the pre-show, they didn't get to see this. Savio coming out there, formerly known as Quang, came out there and did a decent job. I gave this 2 stars.
I enjoyed Savio Vega better when he was in the World Wrestling Council, known as TNT. He was actually kind of entertaining. Savio Vega's not so much. They really put a rocket in him because he was featured quite heavily in this show, as we'll go into more and more and more against IRS. The match was okay. It was a typical Sunday night main event match. I also went 2 stars.
Yeah. I mean, moving along here, because now we're moving on to the show. Now notice, this was 10 minutes before the show that he finished his match. Because now in the opening match of the show, he was taking on Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji.
And back for the second year in a row, Matt and Jeff Hardy hold the door.
Yeah.
But they're the true curtain jerkers.
Yes.
Savio Vega with Razor Ramon, who was... I don't know if it was kayfabe nursing injuries, real nursing injuries, and he was just not quite back yet. But he came out there because it was the New York, Puerto Rican thing going on against Yokozuna. This match was not horrible. Razor Ramon took 4 shots in the ribs and no-sold him, so that's why I think it was kayfabe. Yokozuna got counted out. They needed to have that. Savio going over, it was 2 stars. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view was about average at best. This was the average times. Nothing really exciting, but fans still came to the shows and enjoyed themselves. There was no internet back then. No dirt sheets really back then for most people. Most people had to trade VHS tapes to be able to see some of these shows. And,
Yeah, there was Dave Meltzer and I can't remember Elner and one other. There were really only 3 dirt sheets and only one of them still in existence, and it's a shell of its former self. That's Meltzer.
Yeah, another topic there. I gave it 2 stars as well. I mean, like I said, about an average match. It was okay, but nothing phenomenal. But then we got to move into Stan Lane's only spot there with Owen Hart talking on the phone about how great in the King of the Ring he was.
And that was great. We didn't hear any of it, but you could tell by the animation of Owen Hart he was having a great time. He was probably giving recipes away for his wife's cookies because she was known to make cookies for the wrestlers when Owen Hart was still alive. So that's probably what he was screaming in. And it was a 1/4 cup of nutmeg!
Yeah. You could definitely see that. It was very animated. It was great to see. Moving along here, the second match in the first round there. Oh, he's already happy. Bob Sparkplug Holly taking on the Roadie with Jeff Jarrett. That's JEFFJARRETT.
Yeah, and again, for the 2 or 3 people who were not familiar with the Roadie, that's the Road Dogg, Jesse James.
Oh, you didn't know?
One more of those, and you earned the You Smell Award. The Road Dogg Jesse James, or Brian Armstrong, as his real name is. He is a member of the Armstrong and family. Bullet Bob Armstrong is the patriarch. He is the most charismatic and the least talented, all at the same time. This match was atrocious. It was horrible and sloppy. Bob Holly, they had stopped calling him Thurman Sparky Plug and called him Bob Sparkplug Holly. And I don't know if there was a botch. I don't know if Bob Holly just wanted to, rib the show. But the roadie got the win, but you saw Kyoto 1, 2. Bob Holly kicked his shoulder out, and Kyoto kept right on counting. That was probably the planned ending, and Bob Holly just like, I'm not going down like a bitch. 1.25 stars.
Yeah, I mean, I went with this. There's a lot of things I could give my 2-finger salute to, and that's coming up here. But yeah, I mean, it was about, an average match. It just all was meh. It was like, okay, thank you for giving my wrestling fix, but not really giving my wrestling fix as a fan. It was okay. I gave it 2 stars. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Ugh.
I can say move on. Let's get to the next match.
Move on. This match was actually pretty good. Kama with Ted DiBiase against Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Kama Mustafa, a.k.a. Papa Shango, a.k.a. The Godfather, a.k.a. The Good Father. I think the only reason he made it into the Hall of Fame because he was a company man and they dumped that much crap on him. They're like, fine, we'll reward you. Taking on Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels did not look enthused to be there. I don't know if he was about to lose his smile or if he was about to pick a fight with 3 midget Marines that were going to kick his ass. But he didn't look thrilled. He may have been stoned. Who knows? Kama Mustafa was horrible in the ring. He was very sloppy. This was the worst of his multiple gimmicks. He didn't like this gimmick, so he did everything he could to sabotage it, and this match shows that. But Shawn Michaels, even half inebriated, totally unavailable, still put out a 2.25 star match. This one did go Broadway, 15-minute time limit. That's all I got to say. It was not thrilling, but it wasn't a horrible match.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right to me. I gave it 2.5, one of my higher ratings on this match here. I enjoyed it the whole 15 minutes. I was actually shocked to see it go Broadway there. But, both guys got eliminated. Michaels looked like he was having a good party. Yeah, he was definitely enjoying some soda. Yeah.
Barley soda.
Yeah. But, I gave it 2.5. I thought it was good. That's the difference. When you're at your worst, you can still make a match look pretty decent. So, definitely a credit to Michaels there and The Godfather, both WWE Hall of Famers. But now I'm going to move into my Quack Attack. That's right. My Quack Attack here is not even for a match. My Quack Attack is for one of the greatest things I got to see in this whole pay-per-view. Bob Backlund's presidential campaign. Really loved it, how he was just being his goofy self out there, talking with the fans, talking about, are you related to George Washington? That just got me, man. I was like, this is great. Probably the best part of the show for me. I love that Bob did this. It was just funny.
And we need, of course, bring Chuck Norris approves. This was an incredibly funny segment done in Philadelphia. The ending was the greatest when they went to Independence Hall, which, by the way, little history lesson, when George Washington was inaugurated as the president, it was not in Washington, D.C., it was in Philadelphia at Independence Hall. And Bob Backlund was standing in a horse-drawn carriage being pulled up because he was getting ready to announce he was running for president. And he said, this is great. This is what it's going to feel like in 2 years when I get elected president. That was the greatest line. The whole thing was very, very funny. Bob Backlund knew he was past his prime in wrestling, but still could talk and still make things very, very funny and entertaining. And you're right. That is an appropriate Quack Attack.
Yeah, I mean, he can still probably outwork most people today, and that's how great of a testament to his in-ring ability and how in great shape he is. But let's move on here, because now we've got Mabel with Mo taking on The Undertaker and Paul Bearer.
Mabel and Mo. Oscar had left at this time. The reason was he was not thrilled that the Men on a Mission had taken a heel turn. He joined it thinking they were going to keep the Men on a Mission baby faces to encourage kids to do good things with their life, not to get involved with gangs. So when they turned heel, he left. And we get him taking on The Undertaker. Now, I don't remember if their casket match has already happened, Mabel and The Undertaker.
I don't believe it did.
I don't believe it's happened. Right now, he's feuding with Kama because Kama has gotten a hold of the urn and melted it down and turned it into a necklace. It's 1995. We didn't tell you this time of wrestling was any good. We're just reporting what we saw.
Who was a part of that writing team in 95? Who was that?
There was a guy named Vic Venom, which you know him better as Vince Russo.
Yeah, good old Vinny Rue. Already on his start for great booking and everything like that.
All right, this match was okay. The Kama interference at the end to cost The Undertaker the victory and give the win to Mabel was appropriate. But the referee and Mabel were both down. They had both gotten beat up. Kama Mustafa rolls out of the ring, and all of a sudden it's 0-60. They were like they'd never been hurt, and they crawl over there and they get their win. So the match was okay. 2 stars. They did a good job of putting over. The Undertaker was struggling without his urn, and they did a good job of keeping the Kama feud going with The Undertaker. Although it was god-awful to watch, at least the storytelling was good.
Yeah, I mean, I went 2 1/4 on it. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The storytelling was great. It wasn't a huge, phenomenal match. None of these matches really were. But this one at least was a high point for it.
Yeah, and now we're going to go into this, which, by the way, editor, I want you to find the song that's appropriate for this. Sitting in the Hall of Fame, the WWE used to play it. Because right now, I'll give them a few seconds to load it up. Thank you. We're going to be talking about the 1995 inductions into the WWF Hall of Fame.
Yeah, what's crazy is normally this was done at WrestleMania. This is done here at the King of the Ring weekend in Philadelphia.
Well, they actually, prior to 2004, were just done at random times.
Yeah.
They had no specific, okay, we're going to do it during WrestleMania. It was just done. Like Andre the Giant's, there was no ceremony. He was just announced that he had been named the first Hall of Fame inductee. So anyway, we had 7 people went in on this class. Big Cat Ernie Ladd, former WWF World Champion Pedro Morales, incredible manager, the Grand Wizard Ernie Roth, talented Argentina Rocca, former Intercontinental Champion, Women's Champion, the Fabulous Moolah, George the Animal Steele, and former champion, Intercontinental Champion, Ivan Putski. That was our induction in 1995.
Yeah, I mean, this was back in the days when the WWE Hall of Fame actually had credibility and had meaning because these guys were legends and now they're Hall of Famers in this time. I mean, it was just such a great thing to see.
That's right, and they recapped it because there was if you didn't have a ticket to go to it locally, there was no video of it. So they had little packets of somebody taking the award for them because like Ernie Ladd had passed away, Ernie Roth had passed away, Argentina Rocca had already passed away. So they kind of said who was receiving for them. But all in all, it was great that WWF understood to honor these legends.
Yeah, I mean, definitely great here. But I'm going to move on from this because now I'm giving my 2-finger salute because this match here just was straight garbage. I mean, Savio Vega with Razor Ramon taking on the Roadie and Jeff Jarrett. I mean, there's a lot of crap on this show, but you are the king of this crap. Yeah, not even the king of the ring. You're the king of garbage because this match here was just god-awful. You know, it was... Go ahead.
You know, I was going to spray making this the first
Double award winner of You Smell and 2-finger salute. You just said everything that needs to be said. Go ahead and spray this match.
Oh, God. I mean, come on, creative there. Vince Russo, you know, can you guys book a better match here? This was just straight garbage.
All right, now that that's done, I hate to use a Batman and Robin reference, but holy, go back to training, Batman. This looked like two guys who were having their debut match fighting each other on a pay-per-view, and both of them had spent $5,000 to put their friends in the seats and were so nervous they couldn't move. 1 star.
Yeah, that's exactly what I went with. This is the lowest point of this whole show. If you need to, if you're watching it on Peacock, just fast forward.
And what's worse is after this, Carlos Cabrera, which, by the way, WWF did something they rarely ever did. This is the 5th time they've mentioned the Spanish announce team.
Yes.
And now Carlos Cabrera comes out to interview him. I really thought Goya was one of the sponsors here. But what made it even worse is Michael P.S. Hayes, or Doc Hendrick, is standing behind Savio Vega with a microphone, says, "I'm here to translate." Because they were speaking in Spanish. Carlos and Savio were speaking in Spanish because they were airing it out to Puerto Rico. Because Puerto Rico had just recently got a connection in with the WWE so they could start watching the shows live. And Doc Hendrick was, I think he said his pants are too tight. He's proud of the win. I'm surprised Vince didn't throw him off the stage right there.
But he kept going with him, at least for this show. But moving along here, we had the first ever Kiss My Foot match. Bret Hart against Jerry Lawler.
Oh, they really put this over. Bret Hart did not seem enthused with this storyline. I mean, he wasn't a great talker anyway, but his talking style was, "You insulted my family. You're going to make you kiss your foot. I am the excellence of execution. You are the Burger King." It really felt like he did not want to be there.
He did not. It seemed like for a few years, nobody really looked forward to working at the King of the Ring. It's like 93, 94, 95. You know, 96, we're not going to cover that one just yet, but...
Well, and since you've mentioned it, like we said, the 92 to the beginning of 96 was one of the worst down years of wrestling. King of the Ring 96, the one that happened next year, started what became known as the Monday Night Wars, the Stone Cold Attitude Era. That started the New World Order, the rise of WCW. So a year away from this, we actually start getting some really good wrestling. So right now, we're at the top of the hill getting ready to roll down because it's going to get a whole lot better after this. Thank God.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the match was okay. I actually gave it 3 stars. I liked the story with what they had there. I mean, Jerry Lawler kept trying to fight him with different people. He tried to fight him with Doink the Clown and other people. Isaac Yankem at some points, you know, and then he finally got in a match there himself. The whole sock and foot with it being disgusting and smelling was funny. Even seeing Stephanie Winade or
Weon.
Weon. Yeah, she went Weon out the door. But, you know, just seeing her reactions to it was hilarious too.
Yeah, I went 3 stars as well. This was the two guys didn't really seem to want to enjoy the match. They were great storytellers and great professionals. This was an excellent storytelling blow-off gimmick match. And the crowd got what they wanted. They were very hot, and they enjoyed every minute of it, especially considering they knew Jerry Lawler was going to lose. Now, we didn't need to see him throwing up in the bathroom, all the toothpaste he was spraying in his mouth. But the match itself was a 3-star match.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good there. Now we're going to move on to the finals of the King of the Ring. Mabel with Mo taking on Savio Vega and Razor Ramon.
Keep in mind this show...
I wish this was alcohol.
Keep in mind this took place in Philadelphia. The hat guy, the ECW hat guy, was seen prominently because I don't remember seeing him the whole show, but he was definitely front and center on the opposite side of the hard cam for this match.
The same place he would sit in the ECW arena.
Mabel and Savio Vega had no real chemistry together. The part of the reason that Mabel had only 2 matches was because they knew he couldn't do 3. And that's why we had the Broadway match between Kama and Shawn Michaels. This match was not thrilling. They're not great workers. And halfway through the match, we got an ECW chant. That's really all I need to say. Sir King Mabel with Sir Mo become the most embarrassing King of the Ring of all time in a 1.5-star encounter.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, you know, me and him have been having a discussion here. I'm interested in your comments. Should Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy V, whatever you want to call him, go into the WWE Hall of Fame? I am interested in your comments. We may have to do a cold case on this because both of us have a differing opinion.
I think he belongs in the Disney Hall of Fame because he looks like Ursula from Little Mermaid.
Will you stop? I mean, it's not that bad. He had a lot of great accomplishments. He won the King of the Ring here. He did beat The Undertaker. I mean, and he did beat Savio Vega. Yeah. But anyways, you know, the match was lackluster. It was just, But I did love the ending because he got to go out there and not only beat up on Savio Vega, he beat up Razor Ramon and even got to see the 1, 2, 3 Kid pretty much get his ass kicked.
Yeah, the thing I actually enjoyed was right after this, they walked up there like they did last year, and Mabel sat his fat behind in the throne, and you could hear it screaming and whining, "Get off me!" And as Sir Mo was doing the longest and slowest proclamation in the history of all things spoken, fans were throwing things and hit Mabel 3 times in the face, and the camera was on him when he got hit in the face, and he was turning and looking at people.
Yeah, you could tell he was pissed off at that. When it hit him, it flew over there. I think it was like a piece of paper, or it might have been a powdered donut. I'm not sure, but yeah, it looked pretty big enough like that.
Yeah, one of them was a thing of fries.
It's so bad. But, congratulations to King Mabel. He did win the King of the Ring. And then we also got Sir Mo out of that. There you go. Great excitement. Main event here. And notice, not the King of the Ring tournament. And this one I'm not actually mad on because you had WWF Champion Diesel teaming with Bam Bam Bigelow to take on Sid and Tatanka from the Money Inc. Corporation with Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, the $1 Million Corporation. Sid Justice looking his best Alabama man as you could.
Alabama man!
Yeah, he looked like he's ready to beat up Barbie. Tatanka, this actually kind of hurt Tatanka to turn heel and join the corporation. It was very risque and storyline purposes for a Native American to join a rich $1 million company. So at least Vince took a chance. It didn't work, but Vince took a risk on this one, which sometimes you need to do, just even if to say, hey, I tried, it didn't work. Taking on Big Daddy Cool Diesel, who had an elbow injury because he didn't know how to take a power bomb. He only knew how to give them, and he hurt his elbow. And the guy who's most deserving to be in the Hall of Fame of anybody not named Ivan Koloff, that's Bam Bam Bigelow. This was a really, really good match. I really enjoyed this match a lot. Bam Bam took most of the abuse on this one.
He did. Most underrated worker, I think, in that time period.
Oh, by far, by far. And 3 3/4 stars. This match really, for not being the story as far as the King of the Ring, but being the main event, this was not Bam Bam Bigelow, Lawrence Taylor. This was a great match. 3 3/4 stars.
Yeah, I was going to go 3.5, but I'm with you. I'll go 3 3/4 there. I felt like this was a very good main event. A great spot for it. It was definitely better than last year's with Piper and Lawler because that had nothing. This actually had some momentum. I laughed when Sid ran away after getting powerbombed. Diesel powerbombing Tatanka there, and Sid just said, "I'm out of here. I'm done," and let him get beat.
Yeah, he was looking for another beer, Alabama man. Steve Weisers weren't here yet.
Yeah, it was a great match. Overall, I thought it was a very solid show. Like I said, fans were even still loving this. Everybody talks about numbers. Like today, the highest rated show is 2.5 for SmackDown, right? Back then, in this time, 2.5 would have got your company sold. Hi, WCW. We're going to get into you next here. Because are you ready for this?
I thought we discussed we were done with our trip down bad wrestling lane.
Oh, no. We're done with trip down bad WWE. because we got to look at the other side here. And I want you to look at this one right here.
This is only September.
I know.
We do not need horror lessons. Do that closer to Halloween. Come on.
Officially, September 1st is Halloween Eve. That's what I've been told, so that is where we're going. Make sure you tune in for us next time here, folks. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And hopefully I haven't hung myself by the time this video gets ready to air. I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, and can you please tell him to... We've done enough showing you how bad wrestling hurts wrestling. Please beg him to stop. Please, I'm begging you.
And we're out.